So July 22, year of 2022. My name is Jong-woo Han. It's in the beautiful city of Washington, D.C., but specifically, this is the Armed Forces Retired Home, which is so beautiful, amazing, with the professional services. I am very, very impressed. My name is Jong-woo Han. I am the president of Korean War Legacy Foundation, which has more than 1,500 Korean interviews, not only from the United States, but also other 21 countries that participated in the Korean War. We are doing this to preserve your memory, first of all, because it's been already more than 70 years ago. And we want to honor your service and sacrifices. But also, we want to make this interview into curricular resources so that the teachers in their classroom, when they're talking about the Korean War, in the context of the Cold War, they can use this interview as a direct witness so that students can, our younger generations can know what happened to you and all other American forces and soldiers during the Korean War. That's why we are doing this. It's my great honor and pleasure to meet you, sir. Thank you for coming to share your story with us. Please introduce yourself. What is your name, sir?
Richard W. Robinson.
Could you spell it?
Richardwrobinson.
Mr. Robinson, thank you again. And what is your birthday?
February 16, 1931.
31, that makes you 91-year-old?
Yes.
You look so young.
Thank you.
What is the secret?
Just clean living, I guess. Just take care of yourself and...
As I mentioned, this retired home, beautiful and has a really good facilities and very nice. How long you been here?
I've been here 17 years.
Mm-hmm. Do you like it?
Oh, yes. I came here after my wife passed away.
When was it? So 17 years ago.
2005.
5.
And when she passed away, I came here because they have a program where they can move you from independent living to assisted living to long-term care. So,
what is the qualification? I guess that many people want to be in this facility, right?
You have to be retired 20 years, or you have to be a combat veteran that may be a disability and have nowhere else to go, and they probably would let you in. You know.
Do you have any disabilities?
Excuse me?
Do you have any disabilities?
Yes, I am 60% disabled from the VA.
What is it?
2 heart attacks, hypertension.
Hypertension.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the qualifications to be able to join this.
That's the qualifications for the VA hospital. I get my medical care at the VA hospital.
I see. So where were you born, sir?
I was born in Union City, New Jersey.
And tell me about your family background when you were growing up.
Yeah.
Your father, mother, and your siblings.
Well, we were a family of 5. I had 2 older brothers and an older sister and a younger sister. And my father was a tavern owner.
What?
A tavern owner, a bartender.
Oh.
He owned a tavern, and he took care of us. And my mother was a housewife, just.
Yep. How about your siblings?
The siblings, the 2 older ones, one sister and brother, both passed away. And I have a brother up in New Jersey that just turned 100.
Wow.
And I have a younger sister that just moved to Florida.
Could you share your educational background, what school you've been through, and what high school did you graduate when?
Well, I didn't graduate from high school. I dropped out of high school in my junior year in 1948. and I joined the Army at that time.
Uh-huh.
And while in the Army, I completed my high school education through the GED program. And I didn't go back to school until after I retired from the Army, and I got 2 college degrees from New Hampshire College after retirement through the VA GI Bill.
That's very good.
Yeah.
What did you study there in New Hampshire College?
Accounting first for the associate degree, and then business administration for the bachelor's.
Wow, so you have 2 degrees.
Yeah,
But-
I have an associate degree. That's for 2 years.
But didn't you have to finish your high school diploma?
Well, I finished that in the service,
Oh.
and then they send to the state where you went to school, and I got a certificate from the state that I was a high school graduate.
So you finished the senior year of your high school when you were in service.
Right.
That's a pretty noble thing to do.
Yeah.
Wow. So you enlisted Army in 1948.
June 14th, 1948.
And where did you get the basic military training?
Fort Dix, New Jersey.
Yep. And from there, what did you do?
From there, I went to clerk typist school, and then from Fort Dix, I got transferred to Fort Hamilton, New York, where I was a clerk, where they had ships that used to come into New York from Europe
Yeah.
that brought the troops in and the dependents, and we used to process the dependents in and out that were going to Europe and coming back from Europe. We would get them on their way and that.
So
And I was there for 2 years.
So that means that there were U.S. soldiers in Europe, right?
Right.
What did you hear from them about their stationing in Europe? Where? Germany, right? Mostly.
Germany mostly, and we didn't hear much. Most of them liked the duty there. You know, the only thing they had at that time was the Berlin airlift.
Airlift, yes.
Yeah. Other than that, things were quiet there.
Yep. So up to that moment, you never imagined that you would be in Korea.
No,
Not at all.
no.
Did you learn anything about Korea from your high school up to junior year?
No, nothing.
They didn't teach you
Yeah.
anything.
No, the only thing I ever known about Korea was a couple of my friends were in the Army that got out, was stationed in Korea at that time,
Before the war.
before the war.
Yeah, as occupying forces.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
So you didn't know nothing about.
No, not a thing.
Okay, then how many times you've been to Korea since then?
3 times.
Tell me when.
In 1952 to 53, I spent 18 months in Seoul with 8th Army Headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
Then in 1967 to 68, I was in Bupyeong, that's between Incheon and Seoul, as a first sergeant in the 176 Replacement Company.
176.
Yeah, replacement company.
What is the 8th Army?
It was 8th Army Support Command. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I took a 10-day TDY trip.
What is TDY?
That's temporary duty.
Uh-huh.
And I went to Korea and as a courier and brought 2 Hawk missile systems into the country.
Hawks?
Hawk, yeah.
So tell me about the missile system, HAWK, H-A-W-K,
Well,
right?
I didn't know nothing about them. I just was the courier. I had a security clearance that I was just the watchdog from Ohio to Kimpon, Korea, the Kimpon Airport base.
Look at this. You never know anything about Korea, and you never imagined that you would be in Korea, but you've been there 1950 to 53,
Yeah.
67 to 68, and then 10 days in where? When?
Well, I went back to Bupyeong where,
Right. What year was that?
in
TDY.
1969.
69. So you've been there for 3 times.
Right.
What do you think about this? You never imagined to be in Korea.
Oh, no. It is just luck of the draw, I guess. I don't know. That's the way my orders came out while I was in the Army.
So even though you never been back to Korea in recent times, but when you were there 52 and 53 in Seoul,
Right.
and then next time Bupyeong, can you give us sort of comparative pictures of Seoul and Korea when you were there in 50 and 60s?
Yeah. When I was there in 52 to 53, Seoul was just retaken by the Army. So
U.S. Army.
U.S. Army.
Yeah.
And it was very quiet. There was no restaurants and nothing. They were just starting to rebuild, and mostly the time we were was just go from our barracks to work, back to the barracks. There was no entertainment. There was no NCO club or anything like that.
How was Korean people at the time? How do they live, and how was the Seoul city? Was it almost destroyed, or please give us a detailed picture of Seoul that you saw?
Yeah, well, it was very quiet, and the people were all right. They were very, very cooperative. There was no problems or anything. And then we used to have one Korean national that worked with us, but I was in a classified message center that was security, so we didn't have any Korean nationals working for us. So.
I'm talking about the living conditions for the Korean people. How do they live? Where is the house? What do they eat? Do they have enough things to eat?
Well, yeah, they were in pretty good shape. I think every Saturday they had a market, like a farmer's market, sort of, I guess, where they would go get their supplies and that. And most of them lived in houses. I have a picture here of one.
So, 1950 to 53, is still during under the war, right?
Right, yes.
But the people in Seoul were living like no problem?
No problem. Yeah. The only problem we had was at night, if you heard the expression, Bed Check Charlie would come around and he would try to bomb the presidential residence.
How did you know?
Huh?
How did you know?
Because the presidential residence was in Seoul.
Yeah.
And that's the only place most of the bombs were found blown up. Yeah. Where he would drop them. There was never none on our compounds or anything like that. So, but he would fly over. We could see him.
But what about Seoul when you went back to Korea 1967 to 68? How Seoul became different?
Yeah. Well,
Tell
I
me.
wasn't in Seoul.
But were you able to see?
But I went for a tour.
Yeah.
When I first got there, they took you on a tour, and I was amazed how it was built up.
Tell me, how different?
Well, everything was starting to come modernize there. They were building high rises and that thing. for living, and the economy was good and everything, and but I was only there once, so I was in between where I lived, and so I would only go up to Seoul to go to my headquarters, support command. Yeah.
So can you say that there was a radically different Seoul compared to the Seoul when you saw in 1950s?
Absolutely. In fact, in one time I was part of a community thing where the Army had 2 baseball teams and the Koreans had 2 baseball teams.
Oh.
And they played a tournament in Seoul. And I was one of the umpires. I participated in there. And it was just like going to the ball game here. You know, we were in the Seoul Stadium there, and it was good.
Who won?
I really don't remember.
You were the umpire, so you should know.
Well, but I mean, I didn't keep the scores. All I was doing, calling the outs and the balls and strikes, you know.
Koreans didn't know about the baseball, you know, because it's American creation. And how good were they?
Oh, they were good because they've been playing for quite a while, you know. Yeah. Because when I did some games, I did one game with the Army and the Rock Marines. So then they were all modernized and everything. So.
Do you know that Korea has now professional baseball league?
Oh yeah.
And teams?
Yeah.
And many Americans actually playing there?
Oh, good. No, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that, right?
No.
Yeah.
But I know they have good golfers.
Yeah, right? Which one?
Especially the women.
LPGA.
Yeah.
Do you know anybody's name?
No, I don't remember them.
They are really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 So,
who would think that Korea would, like, now they are the best in the world in LPGA?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever imagined that Korea would become like this today?
Oh, yeah.
When you were there?
Well, time always tells, you know.
Yeah. So, when did you leave from where to Korea?
Okay, when I was in Korea.
No. From the United States. Where? Did you leave?
No. When I was at Fort Hamilton, I got transferred to Camp Stoneman, California, and I was there for 9 months. And what I used to do was meet the boats in San Francisco of the Korean and the people coming back from the Far East. We would meet the soldiers coming back, and then we would put them on a ferry, take them up the Vallejo River, process them, and then give them a nice homecoming meal, steak and ice cream and that stuff they didn't have when they were overseas. And from California, I got my orders to go to Korea then.
What were you thinking? When you were ordered to go to Korea, what was your reaction?
My turn. There was no. I knew I was due for it, and
You knew that?
Oh yeah, because rotation comes around, because that's when they started to rotate the people back. So
what port did you depart from the United States?
Up in Seattle, Fort
St.
Lawton.
Louis? Fort Louis?
Fort Lawton.
Could you? L.A.?
Lauton. It's out of existence now. It was in the city of Seattle.
Okay.
Fort Lewis is outside of Seattle.
Got it. And where did you arrive in Korea?
I arrived at Camp Well, Yokohama first, and we were transferred up to Camp Drake in Japan, got all our field equipment, got a rifle issued and everything, and then we were put on a train and sent south to Sasebo.
Mm-hmm.
At Sasebo, we were put on a freighter and shipped to Busan. And once we got to Busan, we were put on another train and up to Daegu.
Mm-hmm.
And there I went to the replacement center. While in the replacement center, the sergeant, we fall out every morning, and he would give us the orders and that. So one morning when we fell out, he asked, "Can any of you gentlemen type?" And I raised my hand, and he said, 8th Army is behind in their personnel work, and they're going to put on a night shift, and they need typists. So 4 of us volunteered. And in the 4 of us was myself and my cousin from Jersey City, which I didn't know came over on the same boat with me.
You didn't know?
No.
What's his name?
Larry Hayes.
Larry Hayes.
Yes, yeah. That was my mother's maiden name. Yeah.
So what was your unit exactly?
Well, we weren't assigned. See, we were in the replacement company. So we went on to this shift, and it took us a week to help them catch up. And after a week, we were finished. And the sergeant that was in charge of us during the detail said, "Would any of you guys like to be stationed here?" And we all raised our hand again.
Where, in Daegu or Seoul?
In Daegu with 8th Army, you know.
Okay.
So we all got assigned to 8th Army in Daegu. And I was shipped up to Seoul to advance headquarters 8th Army, which was at Old Seoul University at that time,
Mm-hmm.
which no longer exists, I guess. They say.
It's now the Seoul National University Hospital. Now.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And then, so you continued to stay there?
Yeah, I stayed there my full 18 months. And my cousin, he was assigned to the repatriating committee. That's where they repatriated
Yes.
the prisoners of war. And he got stationed up in Seoul with me. So we were in the same barracks till he rotated home, because he was a draftee. So his tour was shorter than mine.
Got
I
it.
was there 18 months, and I was on duty the day they sent the telegram from Panmunjom saying they were going to sign the ceasefire. And I left in the beginning of August to go to Japan then. I was finished with my tour. I spent 18 months.
Could you tell me again, when did you arrive in Busan?
It
When?
was the end of January, I think, or the beginning of February, right in...
And then you left in August of 1953.
the beginning of August, around the 4th or 5th, something like that, of August, to go to Japan, where I was stationed at Yokohama.
So you were there in Seoul when there was armistice was signed.
Yes.
How was it?
Well, it was signed up in Panmunjom. Everybody was elated, that we were having a ceasefire.
Did you have a party?
No, no. 'Cause I worked the night shift, so all we had was an NCO club. So they might have had beer or something, you know. But I used to work from 5 at night, and one night I would stay there, and then one night I would get off about 10 or 11, something like, according to our work schedule, what was there.
What did you do during the day?
Well, I mostly just sleep and get ready to go to work. But there was a press compound, and there used to be the Armed Forces radio, and I used to go over there once in a while to Ben Parsons, who had a country western music program, and I used to sit in with him during his broadcast.
Really?
Yeah, I got to know him, and
Did you participate in the program?
No. I
just watching.
I just used to watch him and talk to him, and that.
Were there any famous?
Just spend an hour or two out of my own schedule, you know.
So what do they talk about in the program, radio program?
Oh, well, he used to play country and music records, and he would do his thing, you know, talk about the country and western stars and that, you know. At that time, Hank Snow and Roy Acuff were popular.
Country singer.
Yeah.
How was your life in Seoul during that time?
My life was good. We had where I lived we lived in the schools. I lived in an elementary school first, and then they moved us up to I don't know if it was like a monastery or where they sent us over there again, and it was we had hot showers, and we had a barber, and we had hot food. You know, it was just like living here. You know.
You were so lucky.
Yeah, I was. It was. So it was that. So.
What can you do about that luck, right?
No.
So yeah.
And then my tour in Japan was great too. I spent 18 months there.
Oh. Okay, so what was your rank at the time?
Well, my rank when I first got to Korea was corporal.
Mm-hmm.
Then I made sergeant, E5.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I went to Japan, I got promoted again in Japan to E6.
So how much were you paid at the time?
Oh, I think probably maybe $125 or something like that. The E6 sergeant was around $100, and corporal was less than $100. So you know it was. But you know, being overseas, we got a $20 bonus overseas pay. So.
What was the most difficult thing during your stay in Korea in 1952 to 53? If I ask you to pinpoint only one out of many, what can be?
Well, for me, I spent 3 weeks in the hospital.
Why?
Because they thought I had malaria. I had one night I had a fever, and then just out of it, you know, and I had to go. They took me by ambulance to the aid station, and from there they sent me to the 121st Hospital, and from there they shipped me down to Busan to the General Hospital. And all it wasn't malaria, it was just fatigue and, you know. Yeah. But I spent 3 weeks in the General Hospital.
In?
Busan.
Busan. What was it? Army hospital? U.S. Army?
Yeah,
Okay.
U.S. Army Hospital, yeah. But other than that, everything was fine with me, you know, just
So
past time, that's all.
So any other episode you remember that you might have been really in the dangerous moment to
Oh,
be
yeah,
killed?
I
Or
did.
tell me about those things, please.
We used to get the replacements would come in. So one time we got this kid in, a new rookie, and I was on duty at the time, and I said, well, I have to go to early chow because I have to come back and relieve the other people to go to lunch. you know.
Right.
And I said, I'll take the new guy with me and show him the ropes when we come back. So they said, all right. So we were driving down the road we had to go to the mess hall was down at the school. And we're driving down the road, and all of a sudden I heard this shot.
Wow.
Right over my head.
Huh.
The new guy forgot to clear his weapon. Of course, we had live ammunition,
My goodness.
And he put the clip in and then pulled it out, but he ejected one of the rounds into his gun. And he was sitting in the back. Luckily, he had it pointed up, and he pulled the trigger, and shot fired right over my head. Almost got killed.
Oh, boy.
But other than that, the time there was good. Like I said, we used to have USO shows every once in a while. They have them at Seoul Stadium at that time. Yeah.
You remember any famous star came?
Marilyn Monroe.
You saw her? You saw her?
No, I didn't go.
You didn't go?
No, I was on duty. Yeah. I had to be back, I used to work, like I told you, from 5 at the night shift. Yeah. So I didn't go.
What do you think about your whole life as a Korean War veteran? You never thought that you could go there, and then you went there for 3 times.
Right.
What is your legacy as a Korean War veteran, and what do you think about the whole experience?
Well, I did. We got decorated for everything. I have 9 medals, most of them from Korea. I had the Korean Service Medal and the National Defense, and that were for the first thing. 4 battle stars because I was there for 4 campaigns. Not that I was in any of the campaigns, but I was there and I was authorized them. And then when I was there the second time, we had an action where they took the USS Pueblo, if you remember that.
Yep, 1968.
Right? And 86 men. We never got the ship back, but we got the 86 men back.
Yeah, I had an interview with the one soldier who were there.
Oh, okay.
The ship Pueblo is still there in Daedong
Yeah.
River.
Yeah, and we were put on alert because it also said that they thought some commandos came down from the 38th parallel and was going to assassinate the president of Korea at that time. So,
That's in 1969.
68, yeah.
69.
And we got decorated for that, too.
Uh-huh.
We got the National Defense again and another medal for that. And then I got a medal for being there for Korean defense. And then the 50th anniversary, the Korean people gave me a medal. And then while here, I got from the Minister of the Veterans Affairs, we got a medal.
Ambassador Peace Medal.
Yeah. Korean War veteran, it
Yep.
says on it.
Very good. As a Korean War veteran, do you have any message to the Korean people or young generations?
No, I've always enjoyed the Korean people. They're most appreciative to us because we helped them liberate their country, and they always been good to us. And even here from the embassy, the Korean people come over, and we had a few events here with the Koreans. The Minister of Veterans Affairs was here with the Little Angels. And we had it in the chapel, and he presented me with the medal, and I have a picture I'll show you there. And we just everything is fine with it. Yeah. And like I showed you that project I had with the children of Virginia, the second generation of Koreans. They were doing a book, and they would come here and get stories, and I never saw the book, so I couldn't tell you what it was. Yeah. So, and also the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff of Korea was here, presented us with a check, which was always nice. And the embassy gave us 2 chairs, therapy chairs, massages, Yeah. And when we had the epidemic, they sent us the mask.
Yep.
That's a Korean mask.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
Great.
So, have been good.
Any other special message you want to leave to this interview?
No. Like I said, I've done a lot, and I've enjoyed it. So,
Great, Mr. Robinson, thank you for sharing your story with us, and I want to thank you on behalf of Korean Nation, even for your honorable service. So that's why Korea is now 10th largest economy in the world, the most substantive democracy, and the strongest ally to the United States. I think that's the really good relationship that you have contributed as Korean War veteran.
And when I was driving, I drove a Hyundai.
There you go. There you go.
My last car. That was my last car.
Keep it.
I already gave it away.
Oh, boy.
I gave it to my son. And then he had already traded it in. So.
All righty. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.